How you doing there, Kelly?
I'm working on it.
So, can people see us yet? They just might not be able to hear us. Oops.
Having trouble.
Hi. This might be a little bit rocky for a few minutes at YouTube land. So, gee, you know, I've been in the Tri-Cities for 27 years, and I just asked a couple of people about it, but this is the first time I ever remember seeing wildfires destroying homes here. Never seen that before. I thought we might have been insulated from it. I guess I was wrong. So, yeah, I mean, we just keep growing, but still, that's just awful. So, I mean, definitely if we can keep those people in our prayers. We don't know. I don't think anybody's been hurt, but we don't know for sure yet.
There was one that was hurt and taken to the hospital by a private vehicle, but it's not like minor burns.
Well, he said somebody was in one of the houses that was destroyed, but they're not sure. So I haven't heard recently about that, so we don't know. So, gosh, stuff happens. Terrible stuff. We're not insulated from it. So, more T-shirts. I know I've got it here. Dad, so easy to operate, a daughter can do it. Ask Grandpa anything. I know a lot, and when I don't, I can provide you with a really good made-up answer. Yep, I know. So, I just did a week's worth of cardio after walking through a spider web. My glass is empty. Quick, call 911. It clearly states princess on my birth certificate. My husband calls me the bomb. Not sure if it's because I'm super sexy or I might go off at any moment. You know what's cheaper than I started to do it. I should have crossed it out. Now I can't. Okay, I have to change the wording a little bit. You know what's cheaper than therapy? Admitting you're bat crazy and running with it. Did that work?
It worked.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes I preview things. I can't say this one. Well, you could change this word or that word, and I go, okay, I can do that. The title, the Jack Nicholson, remember who he was, appeared on the Andy Griffith Show. Remember that? 1966 and 1967. So he was on the show twice. Who cares? I mean, really, kind of.
It's history. Uh-oh. Must be time here.
That was cool. If you are but content, you have enough to live upon with comfort. And I know one more here that I had circled. Contentment is natural wealth. Luxury is artificial poverty. You know, it's like contentment is natural wealth. Luxury is artificial poverty. Hey, it's Socrates, you know, things, I don't know. Beyond me, I don't know. Calendar. Let's see, this is August 12th, so of course we had Qigong in the back. Thank you, Mary Ann. Today's International Youth Day. And, do what? Yep, had Oneness Blessing before services, and we'll have Oneness Blessing after services. I guess they're in there now still. Okay. The Emotion Code tomorrow, and Summer Dialogue with Josie on Wednesday. So, and Followers of the Way on Thursday.
Roy needs to talk about that for a minute.
Okay. Didn't know that, did you?
Thursday we have Followers of the Way starting at 6:30, and I'll be doing a presentation on how chakras, the 7 points of the chakras, can actually be found in the Bible. So I invite you to come, and it's quite interesting when I did the study and what I found out. And if you notice, starting with the root chakra, working your way up to the crown, there's actually a progression, a spiritual progression, led by the channel, as they call it, or what we call it, the Holy Spirit. So I invite you to come, be there or
Be
not
square.
be there.
Cool. Makes perfect sense to me. And Art and Soul on Saturday. Ooh, National Waffle Day is Friday. Cool. National Tooth Fairy Day. National Senior Citizens Day. Cool. All right, we do have a couple patron saints by the name of George Carlin and John Lennon. And John said, "Words are flying out like endless rain into a paper cup. They slither while they pass. They slip away across the universe." And George, boxing is a more sophisticated form of hockey. That could be true. The test of good manners is to be patient with the bad ones. It's but little good you'll do watering last year's crops. But I mean, it's much deeper than that if you think about it. Much, much, much deeper than crops. Yeah. The distance doesn't matter. It is only the first step that is difficult. Stay. All right. Let's see.
Sign up sheet for the potluck.
Oh, okay. That's just where I was going, actually. Sign up sheet for the potluck. Have a Hawaiian potluck on the 26th, which is week after next. And so that should be fun. And then September, do we have a date?
Not yet, we were just talking about it.
Excuse me. Goodness.
Janice is going to look into it and get a date for us. We were
Okay.
talking about it.
Okay, September is our annual picnic. I assume we'll probably do it at Columbia Point just because it seems to work really well there for us.
Depending on the date.
Yeah, depending on the date. I've done this one before, but it's still cute. And besides, if you weren't here when I did it, you don't remember it anyway. And if it was that long ago, you probably still don't remember it. So, a 6-year-old was asked where his grandma lived. He said, she lives at the airport. And when we want her, we just go get her. And then, when we're done having her visit, we take her back to the airport. Makes sense to me. Tom retired in the early 50s and started a second career. However, even though he loved his new job, he just couldn't seem to get to work on time. Every day he was 5, 10, 15 minutes late. But he was a good worker and really sharp, so his boss was in a quandary about how to deal with it. Finally, one day, his boss called him into the office for a talk. "Tom, I must tell you, I like the way you work, do a bang-up job. But your being late for work nearly every day is quite annoying to me as well as your fellow workers." "Yes, sir," Tom replied. "I know, I am truly sorry, and I am working on it." "That's what I like to hear," his boss said. "However, the fact that you consistently come to work late does puzzle me because I understand that you retired from the Air Force. And they have some pretty rigid rules about tardiness. Isn't that correct?" "Tom, well, what did they say to you when you came in late?" asked his boss. "They said, 'Good morning, General.'" Woo-hoo, okay. All right. We're going to do a song that I don't recall doing anywhere in the near past, which means the last.
Good morning. Picking up after Phil again. I can imagine that. So, the title of our message today is Depth Finder, Wayfarer, Pathfinder, and Wayfinder. So some of you have no clue because you don't read the emails. If you want an email, I'll let you know what's coming up this week. I just need your name and your email address, and I'll send you an email once a week. Usually, not always, mostly.
Could happen.
It could happen. And I like to title things because sometimes I'm given titles. And it's kind of funny because this particular title, as it came to me, there'd be a word flash through my brain. And it's like, okay, I have no idea what that's all about, but you know how sometimes you'll have a thought and you know it's not your own? And it's a little stronger than a regular passing whatever. And then another word flew by. And then another word flew by. And so then it's really funny because it's like, oh, so this is the title of the message. Yes. What am I supposed to say about that? Oh, you'll figure it out. So there's this free will thing that's going on. So I certainly have free will about it. But there's also this nudge and this encouragement and this assistance. So as I share this with you, some of the things that we'll be talking about are practical things that I've experienced and learned, and some things are inspired. So pick what you can, what fits for you, and what doesn't fit for you, let it go. No big deal. It is what it is. So my purpose is to give you things to think, things to ponder. I'm not here to tell you what to believe or how to believe. I'm here just to support your belief, whatever that might be. And I think today's message is really powerful for that. Let's talk a little bit about Depth Finder first. The concept of a depth finder is, how many people, fishermen in the group? Yep, fisher people. Fishermen is sexist. We don't want to say that. Fisher people. So fisher people know that you can have a depth finder and it'll show you where the fish are, how deep they are, so you know how deep to put your line. A spiritual depth finder is our ability to discern where we are. And here's the thing. Sometimes our depth finder is miscalibrated. Sometimes our depth finder is miscalibrated. We tend to just see where we're not functioning very well spiritually. And we use that, and the scale that we use, or the depth finder, is how we feel. Excuse me. Water, please. Thank you. Smoky air. So sometimes we notice that we're not feeling great, and we feel maybe angry, or we feel sad, or we feel grief, loss. Sometimes we feel apathy, don't care. And we just get caught up in, well, we're not where we need to be spiritually because we have this feeling. And we call them negative feelings. Well, I've come to decide that some of those feelings, I don't want to call them negative, because I think they're powerful tools of discovery, and they assist us in this depth finder in helping us see where we are. So rather than negative feelings, let's refer to them as unpleasant. Thank you, my beloved. I bet you've already opened it, haven't you? Oh, see how you are. Did you want some? No. Thank you. It's a good year. Fine vintage.
Well, gin is just fine anywhere.
Yeah, it's a great card game. So our depth finder, we just tend to focus on what emotions or feelings that we have that we deem negative, and we think we're not good enough. I'm challenging that thinking, because first of all, I don't think those emotions are negative. I think they're unpleasant. And when we're experiencing an unpleasant emotion, it blanks us out from all the positive that we feel. Because it could be one little area in our life where we feel discouraged. And yet we forget all the times we have courage. We're showing up in our life and we're doing the right thing, but we don't see them because our depth finder is miscalculated. All we're focusing on is what isn't working, and we forget about what is working. Your depth finder, these negative emotions, are these wonderful tools by which we can say, hey, red alert, it's not working. And we can go look at that and then decide what we want to do about that. And here's the thing, the only thing we can change is us. Oops, sorry. Microphone is weird, just getting in my way. All we can change is us. Can't change what's going on out there. And we can be distraught at all we want, and that's not going to change a thing. It's being willing to take the next step. And here's the great news. Ready for the great news? You don't even have to be willing. I love AA because in their world, what they say is pray for willingness. You can be stubborn, locked down, fixed in your position, and you can pray for willingness. And this beautiful thing happens is willingness is gifted to you. It's gifted to you. You don't even have to do anything. It shows up. And you go, look, there's willingness. And with the willingness comes courage. And with the courage comes the ability to see the next right thing. When we're locked down in an unpleasant emotion, and we're not viewing it as it's intended to be viewed, we're viewing it as bad or negative, we stay stuck. But if we view it as, oh, here's your path, here's your depth finder, here's where you are, take a look. What can you do about that? Can you be willing to take the next step? Oh, no, I'm not willing. Okay, ask for that willingness. It's granted to you. It's gifted to you. And the next step will show up. And next thing you know, you're not stuck anymore. You're moving through the emotions. And you don't have to move from apathy and then drudge yourself up through all these unpleasant feelings, even though apathy has the least amount of energy. You don't have to drudge all the way up. You can go from apathy to courage instantly. Instantly. Which is the willingness. And again, willingness is a gift. Pray for it. Ask for it. And it's beautiful to be able to have this willingness gifted to you, and then lo and behold, the next thing, you know, a step or an option or some new piece of information is granted to you. How many times have you been stuck about something? Pray about it. Prayer's powerful. Next thing you know, you run into somebody in the grocery store and they just happen to have just the answer you're looking for. Every time, does it not? But we forget. We stay stuck and we think, oh, this is how it's going to be. I'm miserable and I'm unhappy, so I must be a bad person. If you're miserable, it's not telling you you're a bad person. You're misreading the information. It's telling you whatever current path you're on may not be working and fulfilling your destiny. And it's time to take a look at that. That's all that's saying. It's not telling you you're bad. It's not telling you you're screwing up. It's telling you, take a new look. And we can do that. And then our depth finder can go from feeling miserable and feeling unpleasant and unhappy, having all those feelings that stir us up and make us feel not good enough, and we can instantly move into courage and instantly move into appreciation and gratitude and joy and peace. And those are powerful energies. You have them already. They're already a part of the mix. It's just we forget. We get fixated on this one little thing that's not perfect. And then we think that's who we are. That's where we're going to be the rest of our lives. And that's not true. So recalibrate your depth finder. Look at your life, and whatever emotion comes to the surface first, that's where you're at. No right or wrong, good or bad, just that's where you are. And from that, become willing to take whatever next step is there. And if you can't be willing, pray about it. Because there is a power greater than yourself that is willing to assist you and help you where you are, wherever you are. And this gives you the ability to look at all aspects of your life, because you may be living very courageously in another arena. But we can't see it because we're too busy. I'm this terrible, miserable, horrible person. No, you're not. It's just a thing. It's just a feeling that is giving you feedback. So recalibrate your depth finder, and that's going to help you on your path, on your journey to where you want to be, where you hope to be, in fulfilling your destiny. So the next one on our list was Wayfarer. Now the Wayfarer, when that word came up, I was like, what's a Wayfarer? I had to look it up. You know, you think you know, but you don't know that you know. So it means somebody who wanders around by foot. So then we kind of move into a place of, okay, I'll stumble around and figure out what this is all about. So we go here, and look at that, and we walk over here and take a look at that. So we become willing to move forward, and we move forward, but we may be a bit aimless in that moving forward, because we don't really know where we're going. We don't really know what we want. We're so used to being here, stuck and miserable, and now we're not stuck and miserable, so okay, what is the rest of it supposed to look like? So we kind of wander around a little bit, and we learn stuff. We'll learn stuff along the way. Those synchronicities, those coincidences that are unexplainable, that just happen, and that grants us the opportunity to learn. Sometimes when we're in our spiritual journey, we're just in this process of learning who we are, learning what our heart wants to do. We don't even know. We've been so busy living our lives for everybody else that sometimes we forget, oh, who am I? What did I come here to do? What's my destiny? What's my purpose? And being this wayfarer, wandering around, looking at things, oh, let me look at this, let me explore that, let me explore this. That gives us the opportunity to learn stuff and to explore and to get new information. And as we move through that and we gather some information, then we become a pathfinder. Now, a pathfinder is the one who scouts the path. So as you're scouting, as you're wandering around in your wayfarer days, you find something that works for you. And guess what? There's somebody else wandering around. Oh, hey, you might want to try this. Worked for me. Might not work for you, but it worked for me. You might want to try that. That's a pathfinder. And that person is one who is exploring and finding new ways of doing things and then sharing that with somebody else. And that's what we do. Here's the thing. I see this all the time in spiritual people. If you feel like you're not as far enough on your path as somebody else, you think you're not good enough. That's just hooey. They're just further along in their path. It's their path, not yours. Wherever you are is where you are, and you're good enough. It's right where you need to be. If you needed to be someplace else, you'd be there. If you needed to be somewhere else, you'd be there. You're where you are for a reason. And the reason that you're there is so that you can learn and share what you know. And maybe there's somebody else that, oh, you think, oh man, they're further along on their journey. On that moment, on that particular path, I know people who are really far along in their spiritual path and their personal lives are a mess. And yet you may be doing really well in your personal life. And you just started your spiritual journey. You just woke up and go, oh, look, there's this whole thing I didn't even know about. That doesn't make you less than. We're all explorers. And wherever you are on your journey is right where you need to be. And if where you are in your journey is bringing up some unpleasant feelings, this is letting you know there's more exploration to take. That there's more information here for you. It doesn't mean you're bad. Seeing somebody else further along in what you judge is further along in their journey, oh, I hate air quotes, sorry. Getting further along in your journey doesn't make them better. It makes them further along in their journey. And their path is different from yours. Maybe they had a different starting spot. Maybe they had a loving, supportive family that said, oh, you might want to look at this interesting spiritual stuff. And maybe you grew up in a family that said, oh, no, we don't want to talk about any of that spiritual stuff. You're going to have a different journey. So bless your own journey where you are. Where you are is right where you need to be. And you get to be there. And you get to be there in that courageous, appreciative, abundant, gracious, joyful place. Wherever it is. Wherever it is. Then the last one in our little journey was the Wayfinder. A pathfinder, to back up and clarify, pathfinder is someone who is seeking and is exploring the path and then shares with somebody else. A wayfinder is someone who finds their own way. That's what you are. You don't have to seek somebody, some guru somewhere, to tell you how to be a spiritual person. You are finding your own way. Because your way is different than my way. I'm as a pathfinder, I can show you what works for me. But as a wayfinder, you find your own way of being, your own way of doing, your own way of living that courageous, abundant, joyful life. And no one can do that but you. No one can do it for you. People can give you hints and encouragement. But that's all it is, hints and encouragement. Who's doing the hard work? You are. You're walking through your life. I guarantee you that there's some people in this room that I admire greatly because I couldn't walk that path. I would fall down and cry and be worthless. I just couldn't manage what you're doing. I have such great wisdom, a great appreciation for the wisdom that you're experiencing and you're expressing in your journey. And your journey is very different than mine. So, this aspect of judging ourselves, I think, is what I really want us to take a look at. So we judge ourselves as not good enough. We judge ourselves as not worthy. And I think that is miscalibrated. I think that's misplaced. I think you're awesome. And I really wish you could see you the way I see you. Because I think you're incredible. Absolutely incredible. Some of the things that you have overcome in your life is unbelievable. And here you are. And most of you have a smile on your face. Anyway. Because you've learned that there's joy in the journey. Even when the journey is hard. Even when the feelings that come up are filled with sorrow and grief or pain. And yet you can thrive. And you can shine in spite of all of that. You already are shining. And you're being an inspiration to others. And that's the thing with a wayfinder. A wayfinder doesn't have to tell anybody else how to live. People will look at you and go, oh, I want more of that. I wonder what they're doing. Let me look at that. You're this beautiful, shining example without having to tell anybody anything. Because how many people really listen when you tell them? You know, well, you should do, no. Did you feel your own heels dig in when I said that? Yeah. But to watch somebody else doing the deal, you go, oh, they're doing the deal. I could do that. But your deal is different than my deal. I've been dealt a different hand than you. And if you do your deal, whatever you've been dealt with, if you do it with joy and courage, you're doing it. You're finding your own way. You're walking your own way. You're being in that state of being in the way. Not being in the way, but being in your way, in the journey, in the process. I have a verse I want to share with you. Actually, two. Here's the first one. But know this first of all. 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 20. I've read this to you before. I probably will read it to you lots more because I love this one. But anyway. But know this first of all, that no prophecy of Scripture is a matter of one's own interpretation. For no prophecy was ever made by an act of human will, but men moved by the Holy Spirit spoke from God. Now I'm going to back up one verse to 19. And so we have the prophetic word made more sure, to which you do well to pay attention. You do well to pay attention, as to a lamp shining in a dark place. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, light unto my path, until the day dawns and the morning star arises in your hearts. If you're following the light, you don't need this. This is good to follow, good to know, good to understand, and it helps you see. But the light that shines within is the light that shines that will guide you. Here's another favorite one that goes right along with that. Chapter 4 of Proverbs, verse 18. But the path of the righteous, this is not perfect. This does not mean the perfect person. Path of the perfect person, baloney. The path of the one who's trying to do the right thing. The path of the one who's trying to do the right thing is like the light of dawn that shines brighter and brighter until the full day. You don't have to have all the answers before you take your first step. A lot of us think we got to have it figured out. We got to know what we're doing. Nope. And again, the step will come to you. The step comes to me when I'm focused on the light. And I can allow myself to ask for willingness, ask for that guidance. Then the courage is gifted and the step is gifted. And it's revealed, it's shown. You don't have to know what you're doing. Good Lord, I sure as heck don't. It's just one foot in front of the other. And don't think that I'm further along in my path than you are. I just have a different path. Your path may not be in the front of the room. Maybe it is, but maybe it's not. That doesn't make you less than. It makes you different. And you get to find your own way. You get to follow your heart. Now, not your feelings, because your feelings, unless they're calibrated correctly, or your feelings are going to tell you you're not good enough. Feelings are just a mechanism for you to recognize something is not in your highest and best interest at this point, and you get to take a look at it and ask for the next step to be revealed to take you to a higher level of living into that joy and grace and peace and love and harmony. Make sense? One last thought. I'm waiting. Oh, okay, there it is. On your journey, it's important to remember that that guidance is there always. We think when we get stuck that the guidance isn't there. It's there. We're just stuck and we can't see it. We can't hear it. And that's why we need one another. That's why we share time and energy with one another. Because that helps us reveal our own light to ourselves again. Reveal that divine connection that brightens that light within us. If we are stuck or we're feeling unmotivated or we're feeling like we just don't know what to do next, talk to somebody else whose light is already shining. Because their light will reignite within you your light that's connected to Divine Source. That connection's always there. But we lose sight of it because the other stuff seems to weigh it down and hide it from our view. So don't be afraid to talk to others. Find somebody whose light is shining and chat with them, even just to say hello. Because their light will help reignite your light. Don't you feel better right now than you were 10 minutes ago? half an hour ago? Different. It's because your light's on. The light ramped up. Because the world will try to tell you you're not good enough. And your own feelings will verify that. Say, oh, yep, they're right. See, you're not good enough. You feel bad. No. Not only are you good enough, not only are you able, you're amazing. And your light is this amazing, bright energy force that changes the world. You came to change the world. And maybe it's the world of your circle of influence, but you came to do that. And by being who you really are, being in love with the light that you are, being in contact with the light that's connected, will reveal that to you. And will give you an opportunity to step into that sacred way, into that sacred path that's right for you. Mr. Phil, would you join me up front, please, sir?
Walk down the aisle, and hands come out. She stops for a minute, then she goes to the next row, and hands come out, and she stops a minute, and then she goes to the next one.
Where is our little Toby cat?
In the back.
Is she on Mary's lap? Yeah. She's on the floor. Now Toby knows how to do the way. She can do the way. Our little Toby cat, she's like our poster child for overcoming abuse.
Yep.
When she came to us, she had a string so tight around her neck we didn't even see it. It wasn't until we took her to the vet that found that. 4 BBs in her hip, I think 3 or 4 BBs in her hip. She had no claws, so she either had to claw her way out of where she was or she was dragged, we don't know. And she will come to you when you're hurting. You know, she knows sorrow and she knows pain. And she also knows comfort because she's received that and now she gives it back freely. Sometimes when I pick her up, she'll turn and look at me really quick. And she'll do that because she has to check and see if she's safe. She looks into your eyes. And as soon as she looks into your eyes, you can just see her melt. Oh, I'm safe with you. So wherever you've been on your journey.
And
we
tried to give her away twice because we already had a cat.
Church cat.
We already had a church cat. And she came back both times, and it's like, okay, well, I guess you're staying.
She chose us for a reason. So she's the poster child of finding the light within and being. Allowing yourself to receive loving attention. That's hard to do, especially when we think we're shut down.
My first cat, Merlin, had a similar but completely different story.
We'll save him for another day. Yeah, he was quite the cat too. Communion is this wonderful physical expression of our energetic connection to Divine Source, our willingness to be nourished by Divine Source. So whether you like the tradition of unleavened bread, there's animal crackers if you want to honor a Native American pathway, whatever. And in this cup is gluten-free, so whatever works for you works for us. Would you join us in prayer, please? Loving Spirit of light, shine your light upon us. Reignite that light within. We ask that you walk with us in all things. These things we pray in the name of Jesus. Amen.